So you're young, you're ambitious, and you want to be a full-time trader. Look, I get it. I was the same. I started trading 5-6 years ago whilst I was a university student, looking online, watching different courses, watching everything on YouTube because my goal was I wanted to be a full-time trader. So these are my top tips of goals you should have if you're looking to be a full-time trader. So when I started 5-6 years ago, I was probably in a similar position to you where I thought, let me make the most logical decision for me now, which is go and get a good education in a career path that can earn well, that is respected, that I can apply myself to. And the logical decision for me at the time was dentistry. But I would have thought it's the biggest shame if you go to university and at the end of the 5 years, if the only thing you achieve is your degree, then you have failed. Because that is a rare occasion in your life where you have no overheads, you have no risk, you have no liabilities. Your goal is simply to pass your exams. Now, for most people, that is a challenge enough. But I know if you're a caliber of individual, like someone who is watching this video, that you know that there is more waiting for you. So for myself, my goal was my degree, my dental degree is my backup in life, but my goal is not to be dentistry only. I have 5 years, 6 years at university to achieve anything. I thought this is a wonderful opportunity to meet people, to explore different opportunities, take risks, learn different skill sets, and all at the comfort of being a university student. Now, 6 years later, I'm in the lucky position where I am living in Dubai. I made my first million whilst I was still a university student, and I've lived in a penthouse with my best friends. I've lived a good life over here and achieved a lot of things that I wanted to achieve. So I say that with no arrogance or pride. It's simply to say, why should you listen to me? This video is primarily for my younger self and for people like you who are maybe in a similar position, who are looking to become full-time traders, who are opportunistic, young, ambitious, and want to know what are the realities and what goals you should have along your journey. So my first tip is judge an opportunity by its downside, not its upside. Whenever somebody gets into a business, whenever somebody gets into any opportunity, it's very easy to think, what are the positives? What could you achieve? And in trading, it is very lucrative. You can be financially free. You can make millions and millions of dollars from the comfort of your home or at a beachfront, and people get sucked into that lifestyle and dream. And of course, these upsides can exist, but you should never judge an opportunity by what you could potentially gain. Rather, you have to look at what you could potentially lose. And that's the mistake a lot of people that, for example, get lost out in crypto, that fall victim to scams, that fall victim to bad partners, is because they overlook the judgment of what could be negative and they hyper focus on the positive. And it's a natural psychological inclination because all of us want to believe that we are correct and we want to have that hope inside of us. So therefore, whenever we see red flags, whenever we see warning signs, we tend to overlook them and we put focus and weight on something that is more positive. Now, therefore, my advice would be when you're looking at the opportunity of trading, sure, you can think I can get funded within 2 months. I could have $1 million in funding within 6 months. And therefore, I just need to make 5% and then I could make a great living. Sure, that is the upside. But what about all of the downsides? What about all of the times you'll pay for challenges and fail? What about all of the times that you will pay for bad mentorships and waste money? What about all of the times where you'll deposit money into account just to blow it? Trading is still a very lucrative opportunity for everyone. It's just you need to know the hurdles that are going to be there, the harsh realities, and how difficult it can be. Because there's very few things in life where you apply yourself every single year and you don't get a result. For example, if you apply yourself every single year at university, eventually you will pass. You apply yourself to get better at your job, eventually you will get that promotion. But if you apply yourself correctly at trading year after year after year, I've seen it so many times. People have been trading for 9 years, 10 years, and they still don't make a profit. So it's not just about doing it consistently, it's about taking smart action. But the reason I find trading so lucrative, and it's an opportunity I chose for myself when I was at university and I was looking into drop shipping, I was looking into Amazon, I was looking into anything. When I chose day trading to be the opportunity for me, the reason I did is because I look for leverage in anything I do. What that means is I'm looking for disproportional growth compared to my efforts. For example, life is usually inputs and outputs. I input my time and I get paid for my time. Input and output. I train in the gym and I get better in shape. Input and output. But trading is not the case where your input does not directly match your output, because as time goes on, your output gets exponentially bigger and bigger and bigger because you are working on the leverage of skill. Because as you get better as a trader, your returns get bigger. And as your account gets bigger, the same inputs, the same trades, the same effort can exponentially grow because your 5% on a 100K account versus 5% on a 10 million account is vastly different. So that is the upside, but never overlook the downside of the realities of becoming a trader. The next goal to have in mind is knowing the stages of your career and knowing the progression of a trader. For example, everybody has that shiny goal, the light at the end of the tunnel, the thing that they want to achieve the most is they want to become a full-time trader. But for most people, that is not 6 months down the line. That could be years and years down the line. And what we have to realize is dopamine is the hormone of motivation. So therefore, we need to be aware that if we pin our hopes and dreams and aspirations to an end goal, which is to become a full-time trader, and that end goal might be 5-10 years in the future, you are very likely to give up. You are very likely to go through periods of ups and downs, periods of unmotivation, and maybe stop trading for 6 months because it wasn't for you, you gave up, and then you come back. This cyclical nature, which I've seen so many people do, that's the reason that they never get ahead in life is because they make progress and they give up, and then they lose all the progress, and then they try again, give up, try again, give up, and they're never actually growing. So you need to know that your efforts will always compound. You'll always get that positive momentum. Things will always click faster when you apply yourself. So never let that motivation and dopamine feedback system fall down. So what I'd advise you do instead is bring that milestone closer. That doesn't mean become a full-time trader closer. That can be very dangerous. What I mean is put milestones that you can reward yourself on, that will give you satisfaction, that will keep you motivated, that are shorter steps towards your end goal, that are in line with your end goal, knowing that if I achieve these small steps and small milestones, I'm more likely to achieve my end goal anyway. Now, when it comes to knowing what stage in your career you are, this is completely different for every single person, because one person might have a mortgage, he might have kids, he might have a very risky business. Another person might just be a student who has a lot of time on his hands. So between these two people, the process that they take will have to be completely different. So you need to have a plan in place. When I had the goal of I want to become a full-time trader, I needed to have certain parameters in place before I took that decision. Number one was it was important for me to graduate and have that degree for me, because I know anything can happen in life. I can go through losing periods, I can lose my edge, I can get unmotivated, I can give up, anything can happen. So I wanted to always have that backup in life, having that comfort of knowing everything is going to be okay. If everything goes wrong in your trading, that brings you a level of emotional stability, because you know that I'm not going to be rushing to make profit this month and I have to make it because this is my only way out. You don't want to be putting that intensity and pressure on yourself. You should be trading from a stoic, calm place, saying, if this doesn't even work out for me, it's okay, because I have these backups in place. These things are going to keep you emotionally stable. For me, my goal was I need to have a sufficient amount of savings, and those amounts of savings should be at least covering 1 year of rent. That is larger than what most people would probably do, but that's what I wanted. And I wanted to acquire some assets so that even if my trading was going negative and I was eating into my savings, these assets would still bring me something. So I have that calm that I'm not just burning my savings, but I'm still moving forward. Second of all, another criteria for me is I needed some sort of track record to prove myself I am profitable and I can do this over a long-term period. I know a lot of people that get funded once and they get funded on a whim. They took a couple of good trades, they passed the FTMO challenge within a week, and they consider themselves a full-time trader. But the reality is, the quicker you win that account, the quicker you will lose it. So when you do decide to take the plunge to be a full-time trader, you should probably know that for at least 6 months, I have been profitable, and I know that I have confidence in my system that I can replicate that for another 6 months. Then and only then can you justify that you can take the plunge and become a full-time trader. Another goal to have when you are deciding to become a full-time trader is knowing your opportunity costs. You need to be sure that trading is the best opportunity for you to go all in on. For example, for myself, in my own case, my opportunity cost of being a full-time trader was that I have to forego my job as potentially being a full-time dentist. I know for sure I'd be earning a 6-figure salary. So therefore, before I justify should I become a trader, I need to know, can I make at least 6 figures a year at a minimum to justify leaving that career path? Because when you are in a stable career path, that is a very underrated luxury, because it brings you a level of stability, it brings you a level of comfort, and it brings you a level of assurance in life, because that career path or any career path has progression. So you might start off at one salary, and you know that with time you'll get perks, because you'll get promoted, you'll get better at your job, you'll be growing your pension fund, you can invest accordingly. There's plenty of benefits of working a stable 9-to-5 job. So when you become a full-time trader, you have to be aware that you are turning all of that away. You will no longer have a pension. You can no longer climb the corporate ladder. I could no longer have that 6-figure salary. So now when I become a full-time trader, I have to make 6 figures at a minimum. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time, because I'm not getting all of the compounding growth of my career. So my decision was, if I'm going to become a full-time trader, I need to make vastly more than my peers who are working as a dentist to at least justify to myself that this is the right career path. The next very strong goal to have is, and I don't see too many people talking about this, is seeking to achieve subconscious competence. Subconscious competence is the things you do that you are good at doing that you don't have to pay attention to. Imagine yourself walking down the street, and whilst you're walking down the street, you are not really focusing on how you walk. You have your back erectus to hold your posture straight. You have all the muscles in your legs, from your hamstrings to your calf to your quads, allowing you to go left foot, left foot, and balancing yourself. If we had to think about all of these things whilst we're walking, it would use so much brain power. Now, how many times have I been walking down the street? My eyes are scanning the terrain to make sure I'm not bumping into anything, that I'm not tripping over any curb, while simultaneously texting and thinking of a reply, while simultaneously maybe listening to some music and humming along. If you think about it, we're using so much cognitive power to do such a simple, leisurely task. You know, a lot of us would consider talking to a friend on the phone whilst listening to music and walking on a sunny day in the park. It's quite a fun activity, but it could be quite an intense activity for your brain. But the reality is it's not. All of these things are on autopilot because you have subconscious competence in all of these actions. Now, the brain is always going to seek to do this. The brain is always going to look for shortcuts, optimizations, and strengthen those neural pathways. And the same will happen in your trading. Your brain is going to get that subconscious efficiency anyway. So you have to be very careful to know that the connections your brain is doing on a subconscious level is in the correct direction. Let's say you have a bad strategy. On one trade, it performs. And you see that, yes, these confluence is correct and everything I'm doing is true. And therefore, I have a good strategy. Your brain is going to assume you are correct, and it's going to overlook the other 5 times that you are wrong, and it's going to put more weight on that one singular win. Now, if you allow yourself to continue forward with these confirmational biases, your brain is now going to ingrain that thought process, and you are now going to get that subconscious competence in a failing strategy. So your brain will start to recognize this in the charts. You will see this pattern or this kind of way of trading again and again, and you'll keep taking that trade again and again, and you'll keep taking losses, and you will not know why you are not profitable. It's because your brain was working against you, because you got the subconscious competence with false confirmational biases. So you need to be aware, very hyper-focused on what is in your strategy and what you allow yourself to become subconsciously competent within. The next goal that I think every trader should have before they decide to become a full-time trader is in line with this quote from Atomic Habits that goes something like this: we don't rise to the level of our habits, rather we fall back to the level of our systems. Sure, we can have so many habits in place, but the problem is usually people can fail on their habits. I might feel particularly motivated to go to the gym every single day, but I might go through a period where I start slacking, I go on vacation, I lose my momentum, and then eventually I'm going to fall back to being unmotivated and my habit can break. So in your trading career, you should not have reliance on your motivation, intrinsic motivation, because that is fleeting. What is more important to have is systems in place. What that means is instead of being motivated to have a daily routine, I wake up and I meditate and I take a cold shower and so forth because it's going to help my trading. Some days you'll follow it. Maybe you follow it every single day for a month, but eventually that habit is going to fail. So what you rather need to have is systematic systems that do not require your motivation, rather they require discipline. In my trading, I don't wake up and look at the charts every morning and decide what kind of trade I want to take today. I'm not just thinking, oh, today I'm seeing a head and shoulder, today I'm seeing a run of liquidity, the next day I'm looking at Asia range, the next day I'm looking at support and resistance level. This level of randomness is going to be setting yourself up to fail. You need to have systems in place that say, my trading strategy is objective, it's mechanical, and it's condensed down to models. Your trading should be a very systematic approach that you know that every single entry type you take is condensed down to a set of confluences that you can very clearly identify and say, does today's opportunity in the live markets, does this fit my trade model? And it should be play for play. You should have a list of confluences that say, I need timing, I need Asia to be taken out, I need market structure to be pro trend, my system tells me that I need one of my 5 entry models to be met. When you have these systems in place, then you are not introducing randomness and bad habits and bad thought process and bad emotions into your trading. You're just following a system. And that means you need to be a little bit more patient. Maybe you'll not find a trade every day. Maybe you'll only get 2 or 3 trades per week. But you know that the trades you're executing on, they are aligned to statistically be in your favor. They are the most highly probable trades. And even if you take some losses, you've mitigated these emotions because you've controlled your risk management. So ladies and gentlemen, I do have so many more things I could be telling you. In my time as a trader for the last 6 years, I've learned so many things and I have so many lessons that I would like to share with you. So I do hope you stick around, click subscribe, because I'll be making more videos like this that I'll be going into my experiences, the things I have learned and the things that have helped me in my journey, and hopefully they'll do the same for you. So cheers ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next one.